Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, teacher.
So I'm going to start the class. There's some of you still missing, so I won't start right away with, you know, our topic. But I do want to just remind everyone, take this minute while we wait for the rest of your classmates to talk about the activity that we had last week, which was the first evaluated activity. Some of you were able to complete all of the 3 readings that we had. Some of you were not able to. So I sent with your teachers the names of the students that the system either didn't record your grade or there was a problem. So just to make sure, if you're part of that group that had issues with the evaluated activity, just make sure that if you have the screenshot, send it. But most of the majority of the 9th graders were able to finish, and some of you already sent the screenshot to me. So, but just a quick reminder if you haven't done it yet. So I want to start this particular class. We are going to be working, just for you to know, we are going to switch books, right? We are going to be working on the English ID book. That's what we are going to focus our class on today. And we are going to be talking about and reviewing everything that you have done on the previous class, which was what's your favorite item of clothing? That was what you were working on, page 6 and 7, if I'm not mistaken. So we are going to be reviewing the verbs that you use to talk about or to describe senses. So let's I want to start by kind of like talking about or giving you the grammar first, just to refresh your memories, because I know that you were working on one of the last exercise 4 on page 6. So that's why I want to kind of go into the grammar first, because I know the vocabulary you have already studied. So if you have any questions while I'm presenting and explaining the grammar, please don't hesitate and ask your question, okay? So here it is. So as you were studying on the last class, there are, we use the 5 senses all the time. And in English, the verbs are used to describe what we see, what we feel, what we taste, everything, right? So here are some of the verbs that you use. There are more, of course, right? But these are the ones that we are going to be focusing on. Give me just a second. I'm still adding some of your classmates are joining the class. So here you have the 5 that we are going to focus on. As I said, feel, look, smell, sound, and taste. And as I said, there are more verbs that describe senses. We have also hear, listen, and watch, look, smell, taste. All of them are included, but these are just a small part of the ones that we are going to be talking about. Something that is important to remember is that when we are using this type of verbs, we are using a noun right after, because that's what we are describing, right? Most of the times they are used kind of like an anticipation to the noun, right? And you have the first example, the singer sounded like a cat. And if you see, you have the verb right there. And you're giving an example on how something that you were listening to or you were hearing to sounded like. So you're comparing in this sentence. Then the next example that we have with the sense verb is, this place looks like a garbage, right? So, and you clearly can see the image, and we're using one of the verbs that represents one of the senses, which is look, right? We are focusing on sight. Then the third example has to do with something that we can smell. And again, we are making a comparison and we're saying it smells like coffee. Let's move on to the next one, which is the girl is wearing old-fashioned clothes. So in here, again, it appeals to, even though we cannot see it, we can clearly see that we are appealing, or we're using the sense of sight, right? She looks like an old lady. So these verbs are used constantly to describe one of the five senses, depending on the verb that you use. Uh, then we have this drink tastes like strawberries, and here we have the last uh, sense, which is the taste, and you have again like, right? We're making a comparison and we're saying that it tastes like strawberries. And in here, you have, for example, more exercises and more examples. There is a loud noise in the sky, a storm. It sounds like a storm. And you can clearly see the second example, which is another sense, is you see smoke above the forest. So it is a fire, and you say it looks like a fire. You can clearly see on the image. So all of this, what we're doing here is using the senses to describe something and to compare something most of the time. And something that you most notice is that we use the verb like, right? It smells like, sounds like, tastes like, seems like, looks like. You're always going to have that word right there, or most of the times when you're using one of the sense verbs, because what you're doing is appealing to the senses. The third example that you have here is my maid is cooking lunch, fried eggs. So it smells like fried eggs. The next one is it feels really hot today. It feels like summer. Then have you seen my new jacket? But you have what does it look like, right? It's short and black. Again, you can see the many different uh, examples on how to use these type of verbs. Any questions or any doubts so far? So if you notice, the structure of the word of the sentence is we use the verb that has to do with one of the senses, and then we use like and what appeals to our senses, whether it is what something sounds like, what it seems like, what it takes like, right? Any questions or any doubts?
Any
Questions?
questions?
No questions or doubts. So, um, and this is something, all of the examples, sorry, that you have here, most of them are in simple present tense, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use them in any of the tenses. You can use a present, past, or future to describe something clearly, right? Especially if it appeals to your senses. This type of writing or this type of grammar style, you can see it, or it's more clearly evidence when you are reading a story, or when you're reading some type of magazine article, or you're reading, for example, a review on food. You will have this type of writing or this type of grammar structure, because the writer is giving the reader the closest experience to what he or she experienced. So that's when we have this type of a style of writing. So now I want everybody, I'm going to stop sharing, and I want everybody to go to the book on page 7. You have an exercise 4C. You have, I'm going to start sharing in a minute the book as well. But just for you to go to page 7 on the book, exercise 4C, you have exercise 1, 2, and 3. That's what we are going to be working on. Just for you, and let me know if you can see the book. when I share it, please. Are you able to see the book, guys, that I'm sharing?
No, teacher.
No? Give me just a second. Then I don't know what's happening. What about now? Are you able to see the book?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, now we are. Okay. So we are going to go, as I said, on page 7, exercise 4C. Hopefully you can see it better now. And we have the first exercise says match the sentences, to the photos 1 and 5. And if you see, we have 5 pictures on that same page that says 5D sensory cinema coming soon. And you have picture 1, it's what will be the sense that you will match it with. Is it hearing? Is it sight? Is it smell, taste, or touch?
Sight.
Excellent, sight, right? So you can just write number 1 either next to the word, or you can put it below the word. Now, what about a smell? Which photo represents that sense?
Number 2.
Excellent, very good. What about taste? Which picture represents that sense?
Number 5.
Number 5.
5.
Excellent, perfect, guys. And then we have touch. Which?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Excellent. And hearing, of course, will be 3, right? And you have paired all of the photos with the senses. Now, the second exercise is similar, but in this case, you're going to match the verbs and the senses, which is a verb that represents the senses. We have eat. Which sense does it represent? Is it sight, smell, taste, touch, or hearing?
Taste.
Taste. Excellent. Very, very good. What about hear? Which sense it represents? Here? It will be?
3.
Yes, 3. Hearing. Excellent. It represents 3. What about listen to? Which sense does it represent?
3.
Yeah, excellent. The same one, hearing. Perfect. What about look at? Which sense?
1.
1, which is sight. Perfect. What about read? Which sense do you use to read?
1.
1, exactly. 1, which is sight. Then see. It will be?
1.
1 as
1.
well. Excellent. What about smell? Which one? Which sense?
Number 2.
2.
Yes, perfect, guys. Which is smell. And we have taste. Which sense is it?
Number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. Excellent. And touch is represented, or we use it with which sense?
Number 4.
Number
Number
Four.
4. Perfect. And what about the last one, which is watch? Which one is
Number 1.
number 1 as well? Excellent. Perfect, guys. Now, uh, many people take for granted all of these senses, right? And senses are really important whenever, especially when we're studying, right? Because some people, I don't know about you, but some people really enjoy doing their chores at home, like washing the dishes or cleaning their room or doing anything that might seem like a tedious job in or chore at home, and they improve their experience by listening to music, for example. On some people, when they're anxious or when they are really stressed, they listen to music or they cook or they eat. So senses, as I said, sometimes we don't we take them for granted, but we use them constantly. Right now, you could say that we are using all of our senses, right? You're listening to me, I'm listening to you. You're probably uh, taking a look at your book and you're using your sight for it. Then if you're working on the exercises, you're probably holding a pencil or a pen to answer or to work on the exercises. So uh, senses are there constantly, right? And we use them every second of our lives. But I have a question. Which one do you think, from the 5 that you have there, which one do you think is the most important in your opinion? Of course, you're probably going to disagree, or some of you are going to agree, some of you are going to disagree. But in your opinion, will anybody tell me which is the most important of the 5? Will anybody like to share? Again, it's, yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Sight, you said? Yeah, probably. What about, which one do you think is the least important? That if you didn't have that sense, it wouldn't be that big deal. Which one do you think is the least important of the senses?
In my opinion, the most important is the taste.
Okay, excellent. And what would be the least important, or the one that you wouldn't mind not having? Anybody?
In my
Uh,
opinion, it's number 1.
Number 1, that's the most important side.
Yes, because it's dangerous to live without being able to know that what is happening in the world, in the place. I don't know.
Yeah, excellent. And it happens, right? And if you see, I think all of the senses are really, really important. And I mean, for you as well, as you have expressed. But I think, as you were saying, living without sight, the world has not been designed for people that does not have sight, right? If you see most of the buildings or computers or all of the things that we have around us, for people who do not have this sense, it's very difficult for them to do everyday activities as everyone else. I think that smell and taste probably are not as you know as important, because you can still manage or do everyday activities. But then if you think about hearing, sight, and probably touch, they're essential to everyday activities, right? One of the things that people experience with this disease recently is that, right? The loss of smell and taste. And they still continue to do their everyday activities. Now we are going to move on. I want us to move on to the next exercise, which is exercise D. And we are going to match the senses with the adjectives. There's a group of adjectives on the right side of the screen. And then you have on the left side of the screen, you have the senses. You have it feels, it smells, it sounds, it takes, it looks. And then the first group of adjectives that you have is delicious, sweet, smoky, fresh, and rotten. Then the second group of adjectives that you have there is awful, great, bad, good, awesome, and terrible. The third group is bland, spicy, sweet, sour, salty, and delicious. The next set of adjectives you have soft and rough. And then the last two adjectives or group of adjectives is loud and quiet. So each group of adjectives is kind of like representing or related to one of the senses. What you're going to do right now is match them, right? What will be the best representation for each of the senses? Let's start with, well, the first one that you have there is looks, which is awful, great, bad, awesome, and terrible. And then what would it be for smell? Sorry, feels. Let's start with feels.
Delicious, sweet, smoky, fresh, rotten.
Yeah, that will be for, sorry, for
Feels is soft and raw.
yes, feels, it's soft and rough. Excellent. Then it smells, you were saying, somebody gave the answer, sorry.
Smoky, fresh, and rotten.
Excellent, yes. That is a smell. Sounds, which one will it be the correct group of adjectives that represents that sense?
Quiet.
Loud, quiet.
Loud and quiet. Perfect, everyone. And then we have the last one, which is taste, which we said is bland, spicy, sweet, sour, salty, and delicious. Now, any vocabulary words that you might want to go over? I'm going to move any vocabulary words that you might have in that particular set of words that you want to go over? No? Okay. So we are going to go to the last exercise for this topic right now, which is the exercises from 1 to 5 on letter E. You have the sentences there, but the sentences have a blank space. So it means that there's a word missing. So what you have to do is that you have to use the best verb to complete the sentences. You have number one. Number one says, it's very noisy here. We can, which one of the?
Here.
Here.
Yes, very good. We can hear you very well. Excellent. What about number two? It says, it's dark, I can't
See.
see. Perfect. Number three says, hey,
Look,
look at that poster over there. It's really funny. Then we have number four. Do you want to
Listen.
listen to the radio? Excellent. Very good. And there's a good show coming on now. And then number 5, why don't you? Which verb would you use?
What?
Watch. Exactly. Why don't you watch the match with me? It's really exciting. So there are common mistakes, and one of the things that it's important to pay attention to, and you have that particular chart of information that you have on the left side of the book, which is when you don't want to listen to someone, you know, you say, I'm not listening to you, means that you don't want to pay attention to someone. When someone is talking to you and you don't want to, you willingly, right? It's your choice not to listen to that person. But then when you say, I can hear you, when you use that phrase, it means that you're unable to, right? It's not because you don't want to, it's because you can't hear that person. For example, if right now you will have problems to listen to me, you will say, I can hear you, right? It's not because you don't want to listen to what I'm saying, it's because there's probably a bad connection. So you have to pay attention, because yes, all of the verbs that we have studied today, they describe, or they are close related to one of the senses, but just because they are describing or they are part of the same group of sense, it doesn't mean that they have the same meaning in the same context, right? Context, as you know, is very important in the English language. You can have one word in 2 different contexts and the word changes its meaning in both of them. So any questions or any doubts, guys, about how to use this type of verbs? Questions or doubts?
No, teacher. Any
No?
question, teacher?
Okay, so I want to finish the class just by a quick Kahoot game to, wrap up this grammar structure and this vocabulary that we have just studied. It has to do with the sense, the verb and the senses. So if you can please join, that will be great. Give me just a second and I will share with you. So go ahead, and if you can join, please. One person has joined. 2. I'm going to give you a minute for you to join, and then we can go ahead and practice for the senses. Thank you, guys. We still have 30 seconds for you to join. Go ahead and Let's see, there are 16 of you. 17 now. Okay, a few more seconds, 20 more seconds for you to join. You can see the pin right there, 845588. We are going to be practicing the verb and the senses. Okay, let's begin. Choose the best answer, right? I can aware of what she's saying over all that noise. Let's see your answers. I can feel, I can taste, I can hear, or I can see. Which is the best answer for this particular sentence? Excellent. I can hear a word of what she's saying all over notes. We continue with number 2, people. Her everywhere she goes because of her beautiful face. Look at her, hear, taste, or feel her, which will be the correct answer, which is the correct sense. Perfect, guys. Excellent. Look at her. Then we have children don't always smell, eat, read, or listen to their parents, which is the best answer. Let's see. Perfect, guys. Don't always listen to their parents. Then we have number 4. Is mom baking cookies? Eat, delicious. Hears, sees, eats, or smells, which is the correct answer. Excellent. Smells delicious. Perfect. Then we have number 5. This cake watches, see, tastes, or hears. Really good. Will be the right answer. Perfect. Tastes really good. Let's continue with number 6. It says, don't that well, the paint is still wet. Don't see, don't hear, don't sound, or don't touch, which is the best answer for this sentence. Perfect. Number 7, I like this movie so much that I can in 20 times and I don't get tired of it. I can watch, I can smell, I can eat, or I can read, which is the best answer. Perfect. I can watch. 8, my father, the newspaper every day before he goes to work. Hears, smells, reads, or eats. Perfect. And we're almost towards the end of the game. Click through this gallery to some of our favorite things about the kitchen. To see, to eat, to smell, or to sound. Which will be the right perfect to see. And we have the last sentence. There must be a leak in the pipes because I can hear the of running water. The smell, the touch, the sound, the taste of running water. Which is the best answer? Perfect. Excellent. Now let's see the podium. In third place, we have Daniela. In second place, Frida. Third place, it's for Laura. And then the runner-ups, we have Janita and Nick. Okay, so thank you everyone for participating and playing in the game. Hopefully it was a grammatical structure that was easy to understand and that there are no doubts. I don't know if you have any questions or something that you may want to ask right now. No? Okay, guys. So we will see each other in the next class. Thank you everyone for your participation and for your attention. Have a nice day today and see you in the next class. Bye everyone.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.
Thanks.
Teacher.
Have a nice day.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, you too.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care, everyone. Bye. Take care.